Let's go watch it in 2D. No, let's go watch it in 3D. But if we watch it in 3D, then is it worth the cost?
Hello, hello, hello. This is Adolph. I have with me Jake.
Howdy, folks.
And Krista.
Hello.
And today on the 3D or 2D podcast, we're going to talk about COVID-19 or the coronavirus. I know. Everyone else is talking about it. Why do we talk about it? Because it affects our work. And it affects the website. It affects the entertainment industry. It's a big deal. And we have to talk about it. It's just something that if you just ignore it, it's not going to go away. So let's do a quick summation of where we're at now, just in case you haven't been paying attention. Coronavirus or COVID-19 has spread around the world, and it is a pretty bad infection. It is now considered a pandemic, and a couple, I don't want to say exact numbers because numbers change, but there's quite a few amount of people that have died from this. Jake, do you have any details on the death rate? Or it's like not that big of a rate, but like the amount of people, or no?
Well, the numbers are showing it could be between 3 and 4% death mortality rate. But the problem is there's not enough test kits, so that it's not like people are getting vigorously tested in many places in the world. So we don't know how many people actually have it, and how many people are walking around asymptomatic.
So this blew up over the last week or two. A little more after that. It started maybe a month ago. The world knew about it back in December, but it became a world event in this last month of March of 2020. And it's affected a lot of people. A lot of people are working from home. All of us work from home. But in theory, we should go out to see movies. So we're kind of stuck right now. And a lot of different businesses have closed down worldwide. A lot of big events have closed down worldwide.
Yeah, in my city, basically all the theaters are closed for I don't know how long.
Yeah. In my state, all the theaters are closed indefinitely.
Officially, AMC and Regal are closed indefinitely. And I think Alamo too. Not sure about Cinemark, but I'm guessing if they did, I didn't see their press release. But basically, all the big hitters are down.
Yeah, and I'm in a state that all gatherings are pretty much not allowed. Restaurants are limited to takeout and delivery only.
Yeah, that's the same here. I don't know about the state, but in the county I'm in, all the restaurants and bars are closed. A lot of major chain stores are closing. All the city hall things are closing, and they're not doing city hall meetings or any of the basically everything just simultaneously stopped.
Yeah. The one thing that's not really affected in Oregon is when our primary rolls around, we will vote because we vote by mail. In fact, our senators are pushing for the United States to adopt a vote by mail, so elections don't need to be postponed or canceled due to virus.
I think Ohio canceled their elections, the primary elections last week. Is this right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's been several cancellations, and that's very disturbing. It's been disturbing because even in the Civil War, we still had a national election.
So, what Krista said before is very accurate. That we're basically frozen in place. That we really can't do anything. Like society has frozen. Like we don't have concerts to look forward to, or movies coming out, or anything of large amount of merit. So it's one of those things where we can't do anything. A lot of places have told people just stay home and work from home if you can, and try to avoid people over 10 people in an area or something. So it's a scary time. That's basically the rundown. Most likely, if you're older or have a compromised immune system, you're not going to die from it, but it's probably going to hit you like a ton of bricks. So it's better to be prepared and to mitigate these infections than it would be to just go willy-nilly. A lot of people are talking about downing the curve, where that's where social distancing works in, where people are not going out because they don't want to get sick, and they don't want to be the reason why their grandparents died.
Okay, just to explain the curve thing is what we're talking about here is the potential for the hospital system to get overwhelmed and not have enough supplies for the number of people who need supplies. So we're not talking about trying to get rid of the infection entirely. We're just talking about trying to keep the number of infected people to a manageable amount, which is very quickly becoming not the case.
Yeah, you're right, 100% right. Good, thank you for that clarification. So it's probably going to be a thing where most of the world by the end of 2020 will have had it and probably survived it. But, there's still trying to mitigate those numbers, trying to make things not as bad,
Mm-hmm.
So, how does this affect us? How does this affect this podcast? Well, basically, Krista reviewed Onward, and for the foreseeable future, that's the only 3D movie that we'll have on the website because there is no other 3D movies coming out that we know of right now, all the way till May. So, Krista, how do you feel about being the only potential review of 3D movie review of 2020?
I mean, that's really sad considering we already waited 2 months for Onward to come out, and immediately after we were like, just kidding. Nope. Everything is dead.
So Onward is now on streaming. I don't know if you knew that, Krista. So you could buy it digitally right now as a record date. It went up yesterday, Friday, March 20th at 5 p.m. And the it's going to be in Disney Plus on April 3rd, I think it is. So Onward had a really bad box office, and I think a lot of it could be blamed for concerns of the coronavirus or COVID-19. It was like 10 million or something last weekend, right, Jake, or something?
Yeah, it was worse than that. They didn't start calling it Downward for nothing.
So yeah, it's the box office is dead, and there's no movies coming out. Everything now, that's another thing that's happening right now with the movie industry because everything has been delayed until the summer at the very earliest. So here's a rundown of everything that's been delayed. We're just gonna focus on 3D movies right now. Black Widow has been delayed. That was gonna come out in May. Mulan has been delayed.
Fast 9, which will be 3D in some parts of the world, it was delayed a full year.
Minions: Rise of Gru has been delayed.
And not only has it been delayed, they've stopped production on it. So it's not even finished.
Yeah, the New Mutants is not sure if that's a 3D movie, or Peter Rabbit 2, The Runaway, not sure if that's a 3D movie, but maybe in other parts of the world.
Yeah, New Mutants been delayed for the 5th time.
And some movies have gotten early release on demand and digital, such as Birds of Prey, Frozen 2, Bloodshot, and then some movies, Onward, Sonic the Hedgehog, some movies like Trolls by Universal, they're just basically canceling the box office release and saying, all right, you can release it to download, and you have a rental period for $20. So you can just download it and pay for it that way. That way you don't have to go to the box office.
So basically, if you're in quarantine by yourself, your movie experience got to be real expensive.
More theaters are officially closed. We already said AMC and Regal. Cinemark officially closed. Cineplex, Marcus Theaters, Harkin Theaters, B&B Theaters, CMX Theaters, Malco Theaters, National Amusement Showcase, Studio Movie Grill, Landmark Cinema, Alamo, Premiere, Caribbean, Goodrich, South Theaters, Cineplex, Neighborhood, and Georgia Theater Company. This is all from Variety. They have a big graph showing everything that's closed, and that basically covers every single movie theater in the U.S. Basically. So, for Guardian March, we're not going to have Mulan come out. We don't have a date when Mulan's coming out, when that's going to release. And in April, Trolls, that's going to be digital, and there's no guarantee that digital is going to have 3D. And after that was Minions, well, not Minions, Black Widow, and that's not given a new date yet either. So all the way till May, we don't know what the next 3D movie will be that will be available to review.
Editor's notes. I wanted to say that now it's been about a week or so since we recorded this, maybe a little more, just haven't had time to upload it. And Wonder Woman 1984 has now been delayed from June to August, so it might be a few months before we get an official 3D release of any kind. I just wanted to put that update in here since when we were recording, we didn't know about it. But I want to try to have this podcast be as up-to-date as possible. But it's really hard because I know once I update it, it's going to be another thing pops up, another movie gets delayed or whatever. So it's really hard. This is an ongoing, fluid story. So we're trying to cover it the best we can. Now, back to the show. Okay, we have another update. As I was about to post this, we got one other update for more movies being delayed. And these movies were not 100% confirmed to be 3D before they got delayed. We were assuming they would be, but let's just go ahead and call them. Basically, all of Sony's 2020 movies have been delayed, including Peter Rabbit 2, Runaway, which may be 3D in other parts of the world, but not in the US. Ghostbusters Afterlife is now going to be in March 2021 release. Morbius is now going to be a 2021 release. It was from July. And Uncharted, which was a December release and then got March, and now it's going to be October of 2021. And an untitled Sony Marvel movie got delayed to 2021 as well. You don't know what that is. So, Sony apparently said that Venom is still scheduled to come out this October 2021. 2020. Getting confused in the numbers and everything. But we'll see if that holds. I mean, it would be, I don't know. And that's not all, folks. We got even more delays. All right. I just saw that Minions Rise of Gru is now officially a 2021 release. It's actually 1 year entirely delayed. So it was going to be July 2nd this year. Now it's July 2nd next year. And actually, December 2021. So, and Sing 2 is supposed to come out. And that's not happening either. They're not sure when that's going to be going on. And I started looking at all the different dates. It's like, well, okay, what's happening now? It's now officially April. I'm recording this on April 1st. And no releases. May, no releases. June, Soul, Pixar Soul is, but I wouldn't be surprised if that gets delayed too. Probably by the time I actually get to post this, it'll get delayed. July, no releases. August, Wonder Woman's now in August. We'll see if that still holds. September, no releases. October, no releases, but Venom might be in there. November is when we get stuff again, maybe, where Eternals, Godzilla, and Raya the Last Dragon are supposed to be. And December, Dune and Croods 2. I mean, that's the rest of the year. So, as of April, we may not have another 3D release until June with Soul, but that's very likely to be delayed next. We shall see, but it may be August and Wonder Woman, and that Wonder Woman date is now a placeholder. So, I mean, it's not 100% placeholder. It's like, I guess, aspirational placeholder date. You know, if things stay bad and don't get better, they may have to push it again. So we may see the rest of the year not really have anything. It just depends on how bad this virus stays around. But I did an update once. This will be the second update, and hope to be able to post this and not have a third update. But just in case, just assuming the worst case, let's just assume Soul goes pushed back and Wonder Woman gets pushed back, and we don't have any summer releases at all. But you never know. You know, maybe things will work out and everything will get super. But I'm not going to bet on that. So we're going to try to give you content. But it's going to be a rough time to be a 3D or any movie fan. So give you another update here. No, that's it. That's it. All right, now back to the show again.
It is depressing. You're right. And even if they do get a home release, like we said before, there's no guarantee that a 3D part of it will be there. You know, Onward got a release yesterday, and I checked on Vudu, and there's no way to stream it in 3D. And when it goes on Disney Plus, it's not going to be in 3D because Disney Plus doesn't have that option. So basically, if you did not watch Onward within the 2 weeks that it came out in 3D, you may never see it in 3D.
Yeah, so like we were already in a situation where the 3D movies were slim pickings this year, and now it's going to be almost zero, which does not bode well for 3D as an industry.
Because that's a good point. What's going to happen after? All right, let's assume that this wave of coronavirus is settled and things are calmed down and theaters start opening up. How are they going to decide what movies get what dates? Because it's going to be super crowded. You know, you're going to have 5 movies released in one weekend? No, that's going to, monopolize things, and that's just not feasible. And are they going to still have the 3D releases, even if they do come out eventually? You know, will Mulan still be in 3D? I don't know.
I have to tell you, I saw the Mulan trailer in 3D. It looks gorgeous in 3D. If it doesn't come out in 3D, I will be very sad.
Yeah, it's going to be really sad just in general that many of these movies may never get their 3D release, and the only people that get to see it in 3D, it would be the people that made the movie. It might be a Disney Vault kind of thing, and that's it. Because it's just one of those weird things where, if the movie theaters do open up, they're going to try to have, all these movies come out, but how do you do it? How do you balance the time? How do you balance the movies coming out? How do you balance what movies get stayed in theaters and what movies just go digitally and move on? And what movies, like you said, Jake, are not even finished, so they couldn't even finish. It's just a mess.
It's not all bad news. VR has it's literally you can just set up you don't even need an Oculus or anything. You can just watch side by side, and Vudu and some other Fandango now have VR versions of 3D movies that you can watch, and that's a hell of a lot cheaper entry into 3D at home than trying to find a 3D TV and Blu-ray player.
Now, Jake, would you be able to do reviews of that kind of stuff? Because I don't have that technology.
I have like a VR headset on my that can work with my phone.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. You
Huh.
can watch 3D movies with that. You don't need to have a Oculus. Just the Oculus. The difference between an Oculus and the Google little cardboard thing is Oculus has its own screen instead of using your phone. Now I've been eyeballing getting something like an Oculus or something, but I was just looking at the price points if I can afford it, and which one to get, because I don't really know that much about VR, and I don't want to get something that's a piece of crap and is going to break down on me in 3 or 4 months. So anybody listening to this, you got just add us, and because a VR is definitely something I'm interested in, because I'm seeing it's probably the next frontier for 3D movies.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the
Especially
future.
with all of us kind of locked up in our own individual bunkers right now.
Yeah. What about the presents?
Yeah.
So, Jake, could you review 3D movies at home with the technology you currently have?
Some I would have to figure out how to get the stuff working on via Fandango, and also see what the price point of this stuff is. Yeah, I'm currently trying to get the 3D Crave app to work on my Roku, and it hasn't been. I think one of my cables is got a short in it. One of my HDMI cables, because I'm getting an error message, but I can't figure out which cable it is.
Now, so if the movie is right now, if they get the digital release, it's $20 to watch it at home, instead of going to the theater. I think $20, if it's for the individual, it's kind of high.
Yeah, that's somewhat excessive.
If you
Yeah.
have a family, you can make a good amount of money. $20 is a good deal.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's a hell of a lot cheaper than 4 tickets to a theater.
So yeah, it's if you watch two people watch the movie at home, then that's more doable, $20. But one person, oof, that's high. It's better than nothing, but it's still really high to watch it. And so all these movies are getting delayed. We don't know when they're going to come out, if they come out at all. And production has halted on a lot of stuff, including Avatar. Avatar looks like it's going to be delayed another year.
I mean, that would probably may have even happened anyway.
Yeah, at this point, like I said, I've given up caring about Avatar. It just took too damn long.
So yeah, they've actually mentioned, the people working behind Avatar, that they really don't know when they're going back to production. It's so much visual effects to work on, and so many things to do. It's just, they want to make sure the best interests of the crew are there. They consider themselves a family, so obviously making sure no one gets sick. But Avatar is definitely delayed. God knows when. If that's going to be 20, I think it was supposed to come out 21. So I think 22, 23 maybe.
Yeah, and Hollywood's still making future plans, but like there was an announcement that Warner Brothers was going to release Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone in 3D in China.
That's weird, because if all the theaters, including China, is closed, why even try that now?
Because they don't know that pandemics go in waves. They're probably assuming once this wave passes, it'll be okay for them to go business as usual, and that may happen for a couple of months when they think this subsides. But then
There is not going to be, like, at this point, I really don't see any way we're going to return to, like, normal. Like, we're not going to return to the status quo after this. There's going to be something fundamentally altered about the way we have to do things.
Oh, the world's changed. I don't think people are real. I mean, every pandemic that's ever hit the human race, the world's drastically changed when they came out of it. And this one will be no different.
The last one hit 1918, right before World War I, or during World War I?
No, it was during World War One. It killed more people than the damn war.
So, yeah, that's, how many people did it kill? Millions?
100 million.
Yeah. Now, with everything we're doing now, I don't know if it's going to be 100 million, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's like 10.
I'll put it in perspective. When the 1918 flu hit, there were 1.8 billion people on Earth. Today, there are nearly 8 billion people on Earth.
Wow.
Yeah, wash your damn hands.
I can't believe that there are genuinely people who, like, need to be told to wash their hands. Like, were y'all not doing that already on nasties?
It's obviously they weren't, or they wouldn't be dropping like flies.
To actually answer your question, Krista, I did volunteer for the Red Cross, and teaching children to wash their hands was something that, part of the team I was on did. So that is a learned skill, not a inherent skill.
I mean, sure, I understand children not knowing to wash their hands, but grown adults should know better.
They don't.
They don't.
And it shows.
So, let's get to some questions from our patrons. Maybe this would give opportunity for different movie studios to actually put more effort into the 3D conversions and make movies that were 2D into 3D. That's a very optimistic way of thinking. I'm not going to think that's going to happen, but maybe a movie kind of like the new Bond movie. That could be a 3D movie now because it's going to have time. I don't think that's going to happen, though.
Yeah, I'm just hoping we don't go sinking into a depression.
Yeah.
But, because the time from the 1918 flu to the Great Depression, in the scope of things, was close enough. It was obviously there was a cause and effect going on with that.
I mean, we already had a situation where our financial institutions were in a bubble of sorts that was very similar to the time prior to the Great Depression. We kind of repeated the 1920s all over again.
Yeah.
So I honestly do not think any 2D movie is going to convert to 3D now because they have 6 months to work on it now. I don't think that's going to happen. Do you think that's going to happen? Yes or no? Jake?
No.
Now, we have no idea what's going to happen 6 months from now. No one's going to invest on something happening 6 months from now when everything's so uncertain.
I mean, there's a chance we might have seen the end of movie theaters as we know them.
Now, there's also a good chance that this may be the last thing that killed off 3D because, simply put, the amount of manpower it takes, man or woman power, to make a 3D movie, it may not be worth it anymore. And people are like, it's not worth it. And, this movie is going to be 2D only. Like Minions, they'll wrap up the movie, but they probably won't do a 3D version maybe because time. They'd rather just not have people exposed to the virus and be out there. So you just wrap up this movie and move on. Push it out in theaters as soon as possible.
Oh, they may not even push it in theaters. You might see theaters may go the way of the dodo. We could see this $20 48-hour rental be the new normal.
Which I think will be sad. I mean, I do love streaming. I love Netflix and Hulu and all that, but I still like the experience of going to a theater, Would that be sad to you, Krista, if that happens?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've, to be entirely honest, I've already, like, in the year or so I've been with y'all guys reviewing, I've rarely seen a theater that has more than, like, a dozen people in it. Like, theaters are already struggling as it is.
Yeah, and they've cut corners so much, and prices are so outrageous. I mean, $10 for a popcorn, $7 for a soda. That if you went to 7-Eleven, you could get both items for like $3.
Yeah, or Dollar Tree and get it for $1 a piece. But yeah, I'm thinking that it's one of those things. Like, I would love to see the first Harry Potter in 3D. I love Harry Potter, but I don't know if that's ever going to happen. I wish they would just put that on Blu-ray and that way move on.
And heck, they don't even want to do that. I mean, like I could never understand why they weren't pushing 3D media in the States and still aren't. Because 3D doesn't do well streaming because it just needs more bandwidth to look good than a 2D feature. And so the media was more desirable than it was. 2D things stream fine. I prefer the media for 3D because streaming capabilities just aren't there yet.
There is some 3D streamers out there still in existence, but it's not the norm. It's not. You don't have.
That's because they know they're not getting hit hard. There are just a few people doing it, so they've got the bandwidth. Netflix did away with it because they just couldn't take the bandwidth.
Now there is a reverse possibility, which is that the theaters doubled down on 3D because they need the extra charge of the premium of 3D, because historically speaking, 3D has been kind of like what theaters do whenever they're scared that people aren't going to go to the theaters anymore.
That's true.
Like 3D first had its big boom in the 1950s when television was invented, and there was another boom in the 70s when the VHS was invented, that were and then like arguably the digital boom in the last 10-20 years has been due to the threat of the internet pulling away business from the theaters. But this is a slightly different situation. This is like actually life or death, and so I don't know if it'll have the same effect or if it'll have an entirely different effect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because the last time we had a pandemic like this was in the era of silent movies, and Hollywood wasn't a very big thing.
And I feel for all the people that work in theaters. It's not their fault. And I don't know if different theater chains are going to be more compassionate than other chains. If I think like Alamo Drafthouse said they'll continue to pay their employees, but like I imagine that Regal is not going to do that. But who knows?
Yeah, AMC. They're probably gonna lay their guys off, like everybody else is doing. Well, there's some people say they're gonna pay people, but we don't know how long that's gonna go. Like I said, we're shaping up to go into this could turn into another depression.
Mm-hmm. Well, given like capitalism has basically just stopped in its tracks entirely, there's going to be people who a lot of people are like wondering, how long are they going to be able to keep their job, or where are they going to end up losing their house because of this, or like other things like that. So it's going to be a very uncertain time for a lot of people, and there's going to be a lot of economic anxiety. And economic anxiety also does not bode well for people making want purchases like going to a theater.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or buying tech or anything else.
Or the 3D upcharge, that's part of it too.
Yeah. those 25-cent glasses the theaters were charging anywhere from $2 to $5 upcharge for.
Like, I can imagine a lot of parents will be like, no, Timmy, we're not going to see Minions Rise of Gru in 3D in the theater. You're just going to have to wait, and we'll watch it
So it's
digital.
on streaming. Yeah, we'll see it when it hits streaming.
That's just how it's going to be. And, and then that could just lead to a chain reaction where 3D people are not making movies in 3D because it's not profitable anymore. And it's just, they try to rush the movies out as soon as possible and make the best, like we may have still box office, but maybe like 6 weeks, you may, right now you get the movie theater, it comes out, and then 1 month later it's on digital,
Or it may be day and date.
Yeah. But the $20 per movie it's really high to amount of money, and some budget's just not going to cut it.
Well, Hollywood's gonna Hollywood. They're gonna screw us over every way they can.
And also, there's been a lot of anger at celebrities and like actors and people in the movie industry that wasn't as targeted at them before. I don't think. I think there was this generalized idea of rich people have too much kind of a attitude, but I don't think people have been associating that with individual actors the way they have in the past couple of weeks, when they realize all these celebrities are getting tests whenever normal people who are actually sick can't get tests.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got really sick in January. Really sick. We had to postpone podcasts. I was so sick. Not only could I not get a test, because there weren't any in the United States, to see if what I had was corona, because I did have many of the symptoms. And and they couldn't even test other people I was around who were sick, even though that was supposed to happen. But I couldn't even go to my doctor's office because they weren't prepared, because they thought it was a real possibility I could have had corona because of where I had spent my birthday, having hot pot. And if you know what hot pot is, it's a communal. Basically, it's a fondue, and use chopsticks, and you dip your food in. It's not the 100% sanitary, safe thing to do if there's a pandemic running around. And it was like a week after my birthday is when the corona news started breaking in Asia. But it had been running around since before Christmas.
No, I think some of the thing we should talk about too is just the simple production. It takes a while to make a movie. People do not realize that, and a lot of movies that may have been started in production right now, they may just cancel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, people are getting spoiled because Marvel, has really moved the pace up. But Hollywood, sometimes it takes 5 years for somebody to think of it before it gets, out in theaters. Some studios have turned this around to 2 years, and
we might just get only huge movies in the theaters, and everything else, mid-size and small, just don't get.
Yeah, they may decide. Yeah, I could see Disney deciding anything that they don't think is going to make $1 billion, they're not going to waste their time with.
I said it before, and I'll say it again. New Mutants, just put it on Hulu and move on.
Yeah.
But, that's a good example. That's been in development hell for 5 years. We don't know if that's coming out. And, all these remakes Disney's been doing lately, they may say, you know what, this one's not worth it anymore. And things may be canceled. And we may just see a whole bunch of cancellations. And, Avatar sequels, if they ever come out, is part of the good thing there. I think Disney's going to be like, all right, you got to finish this up and, get it out. Because I can imagine that's like been at 75% done. But I can imagine not having Avatar 3 come out, Avatar 2, and that's it. But if they're making them at the same time, then maybe they could release them, pretty close to each other. But I can't imagine there being that much future production being done. Certain movies are just not going to get the cut.
Mm-hmm.
And TV shows right now, everything is frozen in time. So a lot of TV shows, a lot of movies have basically halted production or canceled production. So we may have seasons that are cut short, or movies that are not fully developed. Some things you could do, remotely, add CG and, editing, but other things you can't hire the actors again to, redo scenes 6 months later, I mean, you could, but you really shouldn't, So this might be a really big deal. And I think a lot of people are like, well, it's just, people are panicking. And, I think if people are panicking, that's leadership's problem. Leadership should be able to tell people don't panic.
I mean, there's like a range of reactions. There's like a sect of the population that is like, this isn't a big deal. Who cares? It's just people are overreacting. And it's like, no, it's actually a serious issue. You need to take it seriously. But then there is the section of the population that is overreacting and buying up toilet paper and,
Yeah, they're doing stupid shit like buying up all the toilet paper.
So I think there's like a range, and like you need to find like the happy balance of like have an abundance of caution while still like not going completely insane.
Be vigilant, not crazy.
Yeah.
And here's a nice little gift from Shudder, the streaming service. They are the home for the 3D version of the found footage movie. They have it streaming on their channel. You can see it in anaglyph 3D if you don't have a 3D television, and they have it in the side-by-side format, which your 3D television can use. They basically have it in that format too. And you can see it for free with the code SHUTIN, SHUTIN, one word. And they'll give you 30 days of free viewing during the quarantine.
Now, we're not sponsored by them, so we don't get any money off of that. That's just free. I'm of the attitude that if they're willing to give people 30 days free, and hey, this is 3D fans don't get too many freebies. And this is the only place you can see this movie in 3D. There is no home 3D release of this movie. And it's a pretty good one, so I recommend it if you can watch it. Yeah, I watched it with the old school red and blue glasses, and it was fun. I liked it for what it was. Now, let's go back to our website here, and how are we going to handle this? Because usually every month we have 3D releases, and I don't know what is going to be the next theatrical 3D release as of right now, March 21st, 2020. I don't know. It might not be until June. And even if then, is it going to be wide, or is it going to just be a couple theaters, or we don't know.
We have to may start having to review 3D games, VR games, and stuff to just have content to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I'm going to ask the audience, comments below. We need your commentary. Would you guys want the 2D reviews and just say 3D is not available for, just put it out there. It's Mulan or Black Widow. If we can't see it in 3D, do you still want a review, even if it's, not available in 3D? Comment below. If you do, then we'll try to figure out a way to watch it and do a review for you. But, we may not be able to do a full-length 3D review for the foreseeable future. And, we do have things we could talk about, podcasts that we record. We still want to give you content, but the main content may not be there for us to give you. So it's a matter of, I don't want to shut down the business because of this, but what else what else can we do?
It may not be like a complete, like, we'll may be able to get to a point where we can start doing reviews again. It might just be like a halt in, like, temporary delay type of a situation for now.
Yeah, and obviously don't get on our back if we can't review movies in 3D because there's no 3D screenings in our states.
Yeah.
It's not our fault.
Like, even if they theoretically release in 3D, like, if all of the theaters where we're at is closed, we're going to have a hard time trying to.
I mean, because even if Canada had theaters open, I couldn't get to them because the borders closed.
And last year we had problems enough getting 3D screenings, and the 3D screenings not canceling on us, or 3D being in our town. So it's been hard enough already to be a 3D fan. So
yeah, because think all the releases last year: Terminator: Dark Fate, Hobbs and Shaw. I mean, Doolittle. Many of their 3D releases were shit-canned in the States. Just quietly, to the point, like, I was starting to think I was losing my mind because I'm seeing all these 3D trailers, and all of a sudden the movies aren't in 3D. I'm starting to think, am I so desperate for content I'm hallucinating trailers? That's sad. I think I would have more imagination than that.
So yeah, by the end of the year, we'll have to, really evaluate how things are going and see what's left and see what mess we can fix and stuff. But it's so hard because we want to give you this. I drove an hour to go watch Wonder Park in 3D. Wonder Park, yeah, a 5 out of 10 movie. If I'm being generous, I drove an hour to see that in 3D.
Ooh.
That's not something I want to do on a regular basis, or not. I really don't want Krista to drive 3 hours to watch, Minions or something. It's ridiculous. We shouldn't have to do that. So we'll have to just play it by ear and do what we can. And right now, what we can do is release some stuff from the vaults for podcasts. So we did many interviews over the years. I think that's something I could just put up, all the interviews again, and, just have any updates attached to that. That way we give you content, and, we'll post things on the website as we see it. But there's like so little we can do,
And I'll do some disc reviews. I'll have, yeah, I mean, I'm homebound, so there's not a whole lot else I'm doing. Still trying to get my cat into a vet.
Now, disc reviews are interesting because it's been hard enough to get 3D Blu-rays here in the US,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Well, a lot of stores are closing down, is going to be available. Like Amazon doesn't deliver anymore unless it's an emergency or a high priority item or something like that, right?
Oh, they still deliver. It's just it's you are not guaranteed a 2-day delivery on a movie.
Okay. I thought it was like something to do with Amazon saying you can't get if it's like not medical, they won't deliver it right away. You have to wait a week or something.
Yeah, it could be up to 2 weeks.
It's like they're not doing prime delivery. They're not doing like rush shipping unless it's imported.
Okay. But the virus affects everything. We may not get 3D Blu-rays because the people that do the work on that may not be available because they're sick or whatever.
Also, and because most 3D Blu-rays are not U.S. releases, they're international. They may decide that orders like that aren't countries could ban those shipments out of their country or in their country because they may be afraid they carry disease.
I know there was a meme going around a couple months ago. It's like, oh, if you pop the air bubbles in your, packages, that air comes from someone that might get infected. and it was supposed to be funny, but it's kind of one of those things that you may not know. You might have some stuff that might be infected, and may be sealed somehow, and get sick
If you're
somehow.
that worried about it, just spray your packages with Lysol. I mean, that's what Lysol was invented for. It was a great weapon to fight the 1918 pandemic. It's a good weapon now. Does it kill everything? Of course not. But it kills an awful lot of stuff. Because guess what? There's all the other diseases we had to worry about. They still exist. I mean, because of the TP shortage, we're probably going to get a cholera outbreak. Great.
So, yeah, this is a very, very sad podcast. Very bleak, but it's something we had to talk about. I feel like this is something that is bigger than us, and it's gonna affect all of Hollywood and may affect 3D releases for the foreseeable future. We'll try to do what we can, but
It's going to affect everything. So we can all kick back, play Fallout or what other post-apocalyptic game you want to play, and
Animal Crossing, play.
watch pandemic movies. Contagion's awesome. Outbreak sucks.
Do some basic stuff. Wash your hands. Try not to get into big crowded areas. If you are sick, try to do what you can to heal up. It's gonna hit a lot of people, and a lot of people are gonna survive. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't take it seriously.
And if you can, support your local businesses.
Krista, do you have any final thoughts?
They're struggling.
Just be careful, be safe, don't be an idiot. Take this seriously.
I know I think in Europe, Netflix has lowered the amount of data or something because so many people are doing Netflix that they can't stream with the HD quality anymore or something like that. Did you read that story or no?
Yeah, I've heard it. I'm not surprised. I'm expecting other streamers to do it.
People are wondering if Zoom is going to be able to take the amount of digital meetings that are trying to happen.
None of us have it, and God willing, none of us will get it, but we may, and it may just be one of those things where if a 3D movie...
You don't need I was sick. I have no idea if I had it or not.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have access to a test. I couldn't even go to the doctor. I mean, I was left on my own. I mean, my health care was absolutely worthless because they could not take me in as a patient. So they were saying if you get really bad, call the hospital and see if they have set up. This was back in into January. I mean, we're in scary times, folks. And and this country did not, and the United States of America did not prepare. Neither did Italy. Italy's about 2 weeks ahead of the U.S. with infections, and just see how it's going there.
Yeah, in Italy, they're having a situation where they don't have enough ventilators in the country, and they're having to make choices between multiple people who need ventilators, but they don't have enough ventilators. How do you choose who gets the life-saving ventilator and who dies?
Yeah.
That's not a choice you want anyone to be having to make.
And we're probably going to be in the same thing, especially with, I saw spring breakers, and they were flooding the beaches in Florida.
And obviously, the health of every yaw is more important than the movie. And if somehow Mulan does get a 3D release, if you are sick, don't watch it. It's fine. I don't need it that bad. We'll find someone else to review it. If we don't get the chance to review it, it is what it is. I'm not going to ask Krista to, get out of the hospital bed to go see Mulan. That's ridiculous, So we got to do what we can to stay safe. From what I've heard, it can be up to a really bad case of pneumonia, which pneumonia is a pretty hardcore, illness to get. So people
died. Not.
Yeah, a lot of people are thinking, oh, it's just a cold. No, it's not. And we have a significant amount of older people in the world. This could kill a lot of people.
Oh, it's killing younger people
Yeah.
too.
Mm-hmm. It's killing like even if you don't have pre-existing conditions, like it has had serious effects on people who haven't had pre-existing conditions. So like I'm not trying to scare you. I'm just saying like be careful, be vigilant. Like there's a chance if you get it, like it's not going to be bad for you, but it might. And so you need to be prepared for that contingency. And also,
you're probably going to be bad enough off that you're going to have somebody care for you, and they could be exposed to it if they don't take precautions.
I'm in a situation where I'm not as worried for myself as I am for like my mom who's in her 60s and like the kid I take care of, So like it doesn't just affect you, it affects all the people you have contact with and like all the people those people have contact with.
You can be a carrier.
Yeah, exactly.
And the other thing is you can be a carrier for up to 2 weeks without having any symptoms. So you could have it and not even know.
Yeah. Or who knows, you could be that 1 in a billion person like Typhoid Mary.
Who knows? So yeah, this podcast, we're going to do what we can to give you content. Do what we can is the key word, is the key phrase there, because we may not be able to give you regular podcasts. We may not be able to give you regular reviews. We'll try to post things on the website as much as we can, but try to follow us on social, because that makes things a whole lot easier to follow, to see what's going on. But this podcast may go dark, and it's not because we want to. It's because there's no other option to, Such a bummer, but it is with the life we are in right now. So hopefully things, calm down and, but just be realistic here. If there's a cure, we probably won't get it for like a year, and then to mass produce it would be, crazy. So
there are vaccines in human trials right now, but the process of going through human trials will take, 6 months to a year. Like it's not immediate thing. So it's not going to help us in this wave of the pandemic.
Yes. So take care of yourself. Krista, take care of yourself. Jake, take care of yourself. I'll try to take care of myself as much as I can. But we'll do what we can to keep this podcast feed alive and give you content. But you can only do so much. So we did want to just have a podcast talking about this virus. And I hope you found this informative and fun and educational. I guess that's it from us. Jake, you have any last words?
Yeah. Wash your damn hands.
Krista?
And don't be an idiot.
And be vigilant. Don't be an idiot. Wash your hands. I could concur. Just don't buy 100 things of toilet paper and start selling it at the black market. Don't do that. That's evil. That's wrong.
Also, not only is it evil, Amazon has basically cracked down on a dude. Like there was a dude who bought like $17,000 worth of hand sanitizer or whatever, and then like he was planning on selling it, and then like no one would let him sell it. They forced him to donate it.
Oh, and check your local alcohol distiller. A lot of them have changed over. Instead of making booze to drink, they're making hand sanitizer, and some of them are giving it away. You bring your own jar, and they'll fill it up for you.
All right. Well, that's it for us. We'll try to record as soon as we can on whatever we can that's available. But it's pretty dark out there for 3D fans, and we'll do what we can. Bye.
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 Before this podcast wraps up, I want to thank my patrons. Thank you, Kano3D and Mr. Bengal 5 for your financial support on patreon.com. So that's going to be it for this podcast. Thanks for listening. You can find 3D or 2D on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Pinterest, Instagram, and more. Just look for 3D or 2D. Links are in the info box. If you want to send us listener mail, our email address is email3dortwo@gmail.com. Thank you for either listening or watching this podcast. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye, everyone.